There it is, the Sig P229 chambered in .40 caliber. This is my first Sig Sauer handgun, man, and I have to tell you, I have quickly became a big fan of Sig Sauer. You know, I've been hearing a lot about them for quite some time, and you know, being a handgun hobbyist, I just never came around to purchasing them. You know, the price is kind of steep, and you figure you get your Glocks, you get your Rugers at a you know, almost half the price most of the time. But after doing some research, you know, and renting one, I went to the local range, rented one of these, and I really seen why these are such great handguns. You get a lot of handgun for the money. So what I want to do is just go over this Sig 229 a little bit and give you my my thoughts on it, and go over some of the things that really caught my attention on this. So I'm gonna go ahead and change the view on this. So this version I have here is the rail version. It comes with the integrated rail, and this version also comes with the Sig Ergo grips, or the E2 grips is what I think they call them. This version here does not have the SRT, the short reset trigger, and it has the standard Sig trigger. So some of the newer versions have the SRT in them, or certain versions of the Sig P229 got the SRT and the short trigger on it, which is just a thinner trigger. So what it is with the Sig is that the barrel's created, the slide's created in a way that when it retracts and it comes back, it locks into a set place, and that set place is right here. So with some handguns, you might see that the barrel might wiggle a little, it might lock up in different portions, but with the Sig, it's always locking in that same position. That's scary, ain't it? Look at that. Think about if that was pointed at you. Alright, back on subject. And it has to do with the way the barrel is created also. And what I want to show you is you can hear the locking system of the Sig. So what you do is, let's say we pull it back here. Now when we get to about right here, you'll hear some friction, some resistance. Hear that? And that's the barrel locking into place. So when you're firing a handgun and it's always locking into the same position, you know, and you have these full rails guiding the slide and this locking system, you're getting an accurate handgun. So let's just show you real quick. Let's take it down. Takes down like many standard auto pistols. That's, you know, to me, I can say that comes down like the XD. Let's take a look at the barrel here. And then you see the locking system also creates, since it's such a tight tolerance, it creates this smile face here, and you get this too. Now I know all handguns get these marks, but this happens right when you purchase it. Your first 2 shots, you'll start seeing those come. Also, you see here how the barrel is bigger here. I think that's also part of the locking system, and that's what helps lock it into place when you're firing the handgun. So let's go on to some other things. Let's look at the safeties. Alright, I just left it on, I didn't put it back together. So with the safeties, the Sig Sauers do not have any manual safeties. So it doesn't have the slide lock here. I mean, not the slide lock, but the safety, the manual thumb safety, like a 1911, for example. What it does have is it has some standard safeties. This right here, that is the firing pin block. So unless that's pushed up, that firing pin will not be able to fire. It won't be able to contact the loaded round. Also, what the Sig has is, and people consider it a safety, is the double action pull. It's a long, you know, the manual says 10 pounds out of the box. I don't want to hit it. Well, I probably could, but you know, it's a strong 10-pound trigger pull, and that's, people consider that a safety because you really have to think about it. You know, when you're pulling that, you're not gonna pull that by mistake and fire a shot. Other safeties it has is the sear system on the Sig. So what I'm going to show this, I'm going to put it together. So the sear is also developed kind of like a safety on this, and it has to do with the hammer also. So what you see here, I'm going to use a decocker, get into that in a second. So right now you look at the hammer, and the hammer is kind of look like it's half cocked, right? Like a 1911, you could push it down a little bit, it's kind of half cocked. And what that is right now the sear's sitting in a safety notch
in the hammer, and that blocks it from firing. You know, it blocks that hammer from moving forward. When you cock the gun, you know, now the sear is out of the way and you can pull the trigger. And now when you're holding the trigger, now the way the mechanism is working, it's keeping that sear out of the way of the hammer, and now, you know, you can fire. The gun fires. When you let go of the trigger, it locks back into that place. And that's also why this handgun is good for carrying a live round, you know, one in the chamber, because it's not, I'm not going to say impossible, but it has a lot of things to go through if you drop it even straight on the hammer before it would actually fire that round. I mean, it would have to break the sear or break the notch on the hammer so the sear moves out of the way. And then it would have to bypass the firing pin block for that the firing pin to hit the round. So, you know, it's pretty close to impossible that would happen, but you never know. All right, let's talk about the double action, single action. A lot of people are not fans of long double actions. I got a revolver. I like the long double action. Is it hard to shoot with? Yes, very difficult for me, anyways. I guess with a lot of practice, you know, you'll get used to it. And that's considered a safety, like I said. So these Sig handguns come with a long 10-pound trigger pull. Now, it is long, but it's smooth. You feel no friction, no parts rubbing on parts, nothing stopping you from pulling that trigger. It's just a long, smooth trigger pull. Now, when it's cocked, it goes in, and you have it now in single action. Now, for single action, you have a little creep, and that's about it. Well, I'm lying. That's your creep. So once you get right here, now you're ready to fire. Now, according again to the manual, it's about 4-point-something pounds, 4.4 pounds, and that's your single action. And that's smooth also. I mean, it's just a very smooth firing pistol. Now, the way that the cocker works, and I don't know if you can see, it's a little difficult, but the cocker has a little piece of metal that sticks that way. It's kind of flat, and what you do is when you depress the decocker, it's picking up the sear, moving it out of the way. The hammer's dropping on that lever on the decocker, and now you're bringing the hammer back. So now you're in double action, and what it's doing is it's moving that sear out of the way of the firing notch and placing it into the safe notch of the hammer. So it's well built decocker. There's a minimal chance. I don't like to say never, but there's no chance, never a chance. I don't like to say never a chance that when you're decocking, that's going to fire. And again, you're not hitting the trigger, so that firing pin block is also locked. Another thing let's get into is a little different with the Sig Sauers and other handguns is their guide rod. Now, their guide rod this one is metal. I've heard people say they've gotten plastic ones, but this is metal. And that's not the part that I want to talk about. The part I want to talk about is this guide rod spring. Let's see if we can focus in here. There you go. It's like, if you see it, it's braided steel. If you look at the end, it looks like there's 4 pieces of steel that's being braided. And that's just a high quality spring. So here's my first little round here. As you can see, I'm all over the place, kind of like a half moon. And this is all single action. This is not even double action. I'll get into that later. But you can see I'm all over the place here. Now this right here is my very first shot. And you see that go through all 3 of them. So I got to work on that. Now here's my second round up. Now this is 7 yards. Yeah, about 7 yards. Again, it's not electronic, so hit or miss. Here's my second group. And you can see they're real close. I got one on top of the other right there. So that's me, getting in there, working it over, getting a feel for the handgun. Now here's my third round up. So within 10 rounds, I'm hitting a group right in the center there. And I was pretty amazed at that, So I know that has to do with the handgun also. I mean, I'm not that good of a shot, and I gotta work on these little bays. Now this right here, this was the guy who was next to me. He was watching me shoot my P229, and he really wanted to shoot it. So I said, all right, well, what do you got to shoot? So he pulls out this EA Witness 10mm, and that's what that is. That was a sweet handgun, These first 2 shots I was scared, and then this is the rest of my groups on that. A little off subject, but overall I shot really good for the first time shooting this handgun. Alright guys, now that's the Sig P229. That's my review of it. I mean, you can't go wrong. Get yourself a Sig. This one I got used. I got it at a hell of a price, and you can see it does not look used. Brand new looking, pretty much. And that's what you gotta love about people getting into the hobby. They purchase a handgun and they think they love it, and then a week later they don't like it and they change it, and you get to pick it up at a great price. With this handgun, I don't think I'm gonna do much. I'm gonna get some grips. I like these grips. These are great grips, great for shooting. But I just want to get something. You know, it's a high-priced gun, so I want to get something to make it look a little nice. So I got something on order. I'm also going to be putting in here the short trigger and the SRT system, and those I actually got. I got those from Sig Sauer. Just ordered it directly from them. Free shipping if you go over $100. So here's the short trigger. Show that quickly. You see the difference. It's just smaller. And then you have the SRT system. Now, before I have to just kind of look over the gun and see if I can do this. Most likely, I think I could, or am I going to pay a gunsmith? And with that, I think I'll probably end up doing it. But as long as it's not too difficult. Great shooter. I understand now 100% why they call this the Cadillac of handguns. It's just a finely made gun. It's a lot of gun. It costs a lot. It's a high price gun. But for what I purchased this, and I'm gonna try to guesstimate what the guy got rid of it for, they really keep their value. So it's something that you can trade up if you ever needed to, or you needed some extra cash. You could probably get some good money for it. But I don't know if I'm gonna trade this one. Not yet anyways, maybe another couple 100,000 rounds. Alright guys, let me know what you think. If I figure out how to do that SRT trigger myself, I'll do a video of it. And also the short trigger, I think they're the same, so I'm still kind of learning up on those. If I do them, I'll put a video up. Let me know what you think. Thanks.